Hey guys, welcome to Goodwill Dynamics, a show where we like to explore the meaning of the concept of goodwill in our complex contemporary world. If that's the kind of content that you think you'd like to see more of, please don't hesitate to subscribe, like a video, and of course hit that little bell so that you'll get a notification when we put out a new video, which does happen pretty frequently. Today, once again, we're going to be looking at a Reddit post that, goes over some issues of social alienation and tension between people. And I think there's, a lot to talk about there from our point of view, and looking forward to get into it in a little bit. But let's go ahead and read off that story. So Adam, whenever you're ready, go ahead and take that away for us.
My 30 female group chat messages each other so many times a day that I can't keep up with it. Lots of toxic talk too. Is this normal? Feeling overwhelmed and exhausted. I have a group of girlfriends, I guess you could say I recently reconnected with. Backstory, we were all casual friends in high school, but not super close or anything. I had a falling out at the end of high school with one girl, and I recall them not being super inclusive, nice towards me. So I just didn't care to keep in touch after we graduated. Flash forward over 10 years later, and one of the girls started a group chat with me and two other people for whatever reason. We all live in different states. We ended up talking more, and soon talking in the group chat became a regular thing. I originally contributed somewhat regularly, but never as much as they do. They spend all day, every day, sending messages in this chat, hundreds of messages a day sometimes. I stepped back a lot recently because it's so annoying, to be honest. I honestly don't know when they do work or things outside of being on their phones. And to add on to that, they can be really judgmental and gossipy about people. It makes me uncomfortable as I'm really trying my hardest to live a life I'm proud of and not foster bitterness. I don't talk a ton in this group chat anymore. So when I do post, and it feels like no one cares, I try drifting the convo away from criticizing people or complaining, talking about something at work or my feelings on something or just normal life stuff to talk about, but they don't respond much. It's like this group chat just exists to mindlessly babble, complain, and not talk about our actual lives. They seem hypocritical, talking down certain people for not being woke enough and stuff. And I just feel like I've had it. I'm super liberal, leaning towards leftist politics, but I feel like I'm walking on eggshells around them, that I'll say something not woke enough and be attacked. I don't know why I'm even in this group chat sometimes. I don't know if I'm making all of this stuff up in my head or if it's a genuine sign that this group chat is not meant for me. I just feel drained. Too long, didn't read. My group chat of former friends from high school talks all day, every day, and I feel overwhelmed. They also talk a lot judgmentally about others and talk down to people that aren't woke enough. I feel like when I do try to talk in the chat about something I'm interested in, they don't care much. Is this normal to need to keep up with?
Okay. Well, there's a lot here to unpack, and we will be doing our best to do that shortly. But first, some brief introductions. My name is Nick. I'm joined by Joshua. I'm joined by my co-host Adam, and of course by our other co-host and our great friend Annie. And what do you guys think? This is another one that kind of hits a nerve, right? This is a big topic.
No, it isn't normal, and you don't need to be in that chat. All right, I think that's a good video, guys.
Okay.
We'll wrap it
All
up.
right, let's be out of here.
Yeah, it's kind of like being back in high school again, right?
Well,
Yes.
it's not worse, actually.
Yeah,
You
well,
were
it's like-
talking with people in person instead of just being spammed with messages about they're terrible and did you see this?
Well, it's like you have this like an Alexa at home that's like a gossipy high school friend or something, just always monitoring you and talking to you.
Yeah, it was interesting that she was asking if it was normal. And in I guess our last video, Adam's point about the younger generation not having a different sense of normal. And you just hear people ask questions, and to me it was like, of course this isn't normal. And why would you even stay in this if it's not doing anything for you? But yeah, I guess the younger generation kind of doesn't have a sense of what's normal anymore in a way. And that leads to a lack of confidence, because if you don't know what's normal, then you might just have to put up with other people's behavior, because that might be normal and you're being weird for having a problem with it.
Indeed. Yeah. It is kind of about establishing shared standards, right? And doing so with a level of reason and I guess empathy, right? Just empathy for others, instead of being so locked into, well, like, I mean, she talks about these people are very judgmental, right? And they're judging people. I mean, she didn't give specific examples, but she said it's about, being very woke and stuff, and, who isn't woke enough. And I guess the implication there is sort of that they're morally judging people in a sense, right? And that's where I think we get into some of the interesting stuff around goodwill, right? Like, as we talk about this concept of goodwill, and there's a certain way in which somebody's idea of what's good and promoting goodwill, if you don't create that space to at least listen to other people's opinions about what the good is, right? What goodwill, what it actually means to create and convey goodwill. If you don't create that space, then it can actually, your sense of goodwill could actually become something that's and sort of an instrument of alienation or domination, right? It's like, well, this is the good thing, and this is how we create good in the world. So, everyone else just kind of has to shut up, and we have to just make this the predominant way that people think. And the more closed off it is, right? And the more you don't give people a chance to explain their view, and you're not receptive to it, the more it just kind of becomes this closed circuit, right? Where it almost just, your brain just kind of sees this as a reason to attack people. It just sees it as a reason to kind of like sink all of your negativity into people, with this kind of veneer of like, this is about doing what's best. And I'm talking too much about it, but basically it's what it comes down to is you need to kind of create this space where you're at least open to hearing what other people have to say about how to spread goodwill in the world. Otherwise, the way you're behaving kind of belies the whole idea of goodwill.
Yeah, and you have to speak up if you don't like something or don't agree with something. Like, she clearly doesn't think this chat is good for her, and from what she said, I don't think it's a healthy situation. So she should leave it. But if it were me, I would say something like, yeah, I don't like the way things are here with this sort of stuff, and people, basically what she said in the post. I mean, not a whole long thing, but just maybe a quick thing of, people aren't interested in what I have to say, and I really don't like the, putting people down all the time that goes on here. So I think I'm going to leave it. Good luck to you guys, bye, and then leave it. Because a lot of people don't, and leave it at that, not pester them or harangue them about how they're wrong and this chat was bad and blah, blah, blah. But most people with the sort of issue of ghosting don't even simply state what the problem is. So people don't have the information going forward of, oh, somebody doesn't want to hang out with me because of this. It's just a stream of people that don't want to hang out with you, and you have no idea why. And so that, in a larger sense, that doesn't lead to people being able to work on themselves or understand what's actually going on in reality. And so there's a little bit of courage needed, I would say, in when you break up with somebody or decide not to be a part of a group chat or end whatever sort of relationship or dynamic, to just simply state in the kindest without being untruthful terms what the issue is. And, maybe when you say that, people will be like, oh, I had no idea, and they'll try to reconcile with you. But maybe they won't, and at least you'll have provided them the reason there. And if they go crazy and attack you, it's all the more reason that you shouldn't have been there to begin with.
Yep.
I think there's so much tension in the world. This is almost common today, that everybody hears and reads a lot about hateful comments, and the medias, politicians, Facebook, a lot of different places. There's a lot of tension, and it gets to be something normal that you hear a lot of it. So maybe that's why she's in doubt, is this normal or not? I don't know, it could be. But of course it's not normal, like you guys also said. I agree about that. And I think negativity really makes you weak. I mean, it makes your body weak. Negative thoughts, negative emotions all the time makes you weak. So she needs to get out. What she could do, I agree with Joshua, telling them. She could even do that one-to-one. She could contact just one at a time and talk to them about this situation and see what they think. They might not listen, and then she can just leave and find somebody else to talk to. But she shouldn't stay in it. It'll just make her unhappy. And it's much better to focus on happy things or grateful things or something good, positive.
Yeah, I think the reaching out to them and leaving it open, that there's an invitation to still discuss, right? Give, it could kind of hit them. Oh, wow, we're being confronted about this discourse that we have. Yeah, let's do talk about it. That would be great. Then you've extended the olive branch, so to speak, and there might be some possibility for resolution. But if not, rather than just just leaving the group, like you say, that wouldn't be a good thing. You got to give them some opportunity to respond.
There is something to be said. To take the opposite point of my initial point, is there something to be said for just leaving in a situation where people don't respect you and have demonstrated that over and over again. I would still, say your piece before going, but if she says stuff and is constantly ignored and they're just like complaining about politics, then they've already basically said, we're not interested in you, in a sense. So there's that level of it as well. Yeah. to play devil's advocate, let's say, to myself.
Sure. The energy, it strikes me that this kind of energy that gains momentum among certain people and groups sometimes, where they're talking about people in a mean-spirited way, that is a lot of times is a reflection of just how not okay a person might be themselves inside. And so they try and prop themselves up with this kind of discourse to demean other people as a way to lift their level of morality and superiority. And that can become very repetitive behavior. And it seems to me that that's what's going on. And this group of girls that she's interacting with do need some introspection about why they feel the need to talk this way, because it's not a good prop, right? They're not propping themselves up with any good energies. It's really just a negative prop, and it will fail over time. This goes nowhere for them other than more negativity.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Adam.
Very well said. Yeah. It's just, you can't have morality without some kind of open discourse, I think. And like you said, these groups develop habits just like people do, right? And that can become really dangerous. And people end up bearing the brunt of it. And it does sound like this is, I mean, sure, give them a chance and all that, see how they respond, but yeah, I'm definitely in agreement. This seems like pretty clear-cut case of something you should be walking away from, you know, and if, you know, whatever it is that you have to accept and move on from in yourself, you know, maybe these are people from her past, maybe she's trying to keep something in that alive or something, but, you know, as always, kind of, there's a chance for valuable introspection. But yeah, I think she has to sort of accept what she needs to accept and probably move on. Well, anything else about this one?
No,
All good.
All right. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed that video. As always, as mentioned earlier, please like and subscribe. It's all we're asking. And also hit that little bell so you will be given a notification when we come out with a new video. Of course, feel free to comment if you have opinions about this topic.
yeah, what have you experienced something like this? What's your experience or thoughts on this? We'd love to know.
I'll bet a lot of
The
people have.
community.
I think a lot of people have had similar experiences, so feel free to share those. And as always, take care of yourselves and have a terrific week.
Live long and prosper.